Hello, my name is Ryan, and I am representing Group 5 in the IST 302 final project. Our group has 3 members, Hubert, Ramon, and myself. We have decided to talk about Scrum, but instead of just defining the concept, we are going to go a little deeper and show how managers can use a tool called Trello to manage their teams with Scrum ideology. This video is divided into 3 parts. First, I'm going to show you what Scrum is, and I'm going to explain the main concepts behind it. Next, I'm going to show you Trello and some basic techniques and tools used for project management. The last part of the video will show you some tips and tricks on how to make Trello work for Scrum. Okay, let's get started then. In one sentence, Scrum is a software development tool for managing software development projects. So before Scrum and Agile, I'll talk about Agile in a moment, there was a waterfall approach. Waterfall approach to software development meant that the development cycle has to be implemented for the whole project. For example, if there was a need for a change during development time, the whole project had to be recalculated and whole process started from scratch. Agile eliminates this issue, and with Scrum, there's no such thing as one big project. Instead, project managers and developers are working with small batches of work that are called sprints. Each sprint is considered a full-blown project, and the whole development cycle is being applied to it. This eliminates problems with waterfall approach, since sprints are much smaller than making changes to it are a lot less expensive than changing the whole project. Sprints can be as small as a 2-week project, where at the end of it, we'll be ready for end-user testing and deployment. Now, what is Agile? Agile is what I was just talking about, because Scrum is an implementation of Agile, which is strict to software development, while Agile can be used on any project. This would explain why those two terms are used together so often. Now, because of how Scrum works with sprints, other meetings and constant communication is key to success. Meetings are usually held daily, where teams bring everybody up to speed on the progress and introduce possible obstacles and possible changes in the project. Communication is constant and has to be well planned by the manager so that teams have all the details and updated information they need for successful implementation of the sprint. Now, what is Trello? Trello is a web-based application used to manage various projects and tasks. The best part about it is that it's free. To register, go to Trello.com. All you need to complete the process is an email address. Also, all changes made with the window are real-time, and other users that are with you on the project can see these changes. The top-level block in Trello structure is a company. As a user, you can belong to many companies, where you can have many boards. The default company is called My Boards, which you can use for your private boards like private financials or private projects. Boards usually contain many projects. A good example of a board name can be IT projects or marketing projects. Once you enter a board, you'll be able to create lists. Lists are what boards are divided into. The list will later contain your projects at different stages of the process. Some examples of lists are pending approval, in progress, on hold, and completed. Inside the list, you can create a card. A card is basically your project, or a stage of the project. For example, e-commerce site version 1.0. This card will contain all information about the e-commerce site version 1.0. And as it starts in pending approval, you can just drag and drop in between different lists, which symbolize the process that is being made with a particular project. When you click on your card, you can view all the details about the project. This is just a basic start screen for Trello. This is the welcome board for Trello, along with some lists that are associated with it. On the top, you can see detailed information about the card, such as members, which are users who are assigned to this card or project, and checklists, which are user-defined lists or tasks needed to be completed with the project. Below is a list of all activities on this card. Here you can see what each user did at what time. On the right, there is an Add and Actions menu, which lets you manage the card. First in Add is Members button, which allows you to define members of this card. Below is Labels button, and by labels you can attach card to a specific group. For example, your labels can define which part of IT this card belongs to. Is it infrastructure or e-commerce? Checklist is where you can create checklists for your card. A checklist can be steps taken to complete the project, as I said before, or it can be used to write down revisions or things that need corrections before moving further on in the project. Due date is rather obvious, but by adding this to your card, you will get notifications and your card will change colors based on how far you are from the due date. By using attachments, you can attach images or links to your card. This can be helpful for illustrating some concepts or adding graphs or other details about the project. The Actions menu allows you to manage your card. Move it to different boards or companies, copy it, or archive/delete it. The Subscribe button allows you to tell the application to notify you when changes are made to this card. That is pretty much it for the basic review of Trello. I hope this was helpful, and now we're going to show you some tips on how to use Trello with Scrum. To put Scrum principles to Trello, we are going to have to use multiple lists on a board where each will represent a sprint status. The basic setup is to do, in progress, and done. However, to make it more practical, we are going to add product backlog and current sprint. Additionally, the PM can add lists such as blocked or multiple done lists to keep track of what has happened to sprints after they have been released. Block lists can contain sprints that are not being worked on at this time because of a lack of resources or some third-party intervention. Product backlog list is where projects or sprints are being added by, let's say, a marketing team for consideration for the future. The IT would not work on this list until it's being moved, split up into sprints, and added to spring planning. Spring planning list is where the team starts planning and designing next sprints. At this point, the spring or project should have a well-shaped plan and estimates. Current sprint list consists of sprints that are ready to be done and can be already designed for developers to work on. In progress list contains sprints or projects that are being worked on at this time. These cards should contain details about time estimations and progress reports, as well as details about issues and communication channels between developers. Done lists are completed work that has been approved or released. Here are some tips for using Trello and Scrum. Make sure your Trello board access has appropriate account setup. You wouldn't want a developer or someone from marketing to mess around with your setup or projects. By allowing all stakeholders to watch the board, everyone will be up to speed on what is happening with the project. Minimizing distractions by turning off notifications and by moving QA and bugs lists to separate boards. For time estimates, use external tools such as SCRUM for Trello Chrome extensions. This concludes our video on Scrum with Trello.